Let's join Andreas Krieg now, the senior lecturer in security studies at King's College London, joins us now from London. Mr. Krieg, always good to have you on the programme for your analysis. Lots of things to get through, but can we just talk about this operation that's going on right now on the edge of northern Gaza and into Gaza? What do you think the operational objectives are here for the Israelis right now?
Good morning. I think, as we heard from your correspondent in East Jerusalem, the number one priority for the IDF at the moment is to minimize soldier casualties. So there's a bit of a transfer going on of the burden of risks from these soldiers to the civilian population. I don't think they feel very much empowered to go inside deep urban areas. I think what we see now is some sort of an envelopment by the military, whereby they're moving into the Gaza Strip from the northwest along the coast, which is not very densely populated, and moving into the Gaza Strip in somewhat the center of the Gaza Strip in what is a fairly less populated area, somewhat the weak underbelly of Gaza City. And it's usually kind of an agricultural place. So it allows armor to move in fairly easily with less resistance, and thereby trying to cut the Gaza Strip into two, particularly cutting the north off from the south. And the images that we've seen from tanks firing on passenger vehicles suggest that this is going on somewhat almost at the center of the Gaza Strip, and they could potentially try to meet these two pincer movements, kind of trying to connect them on the coast and thereby cut the north off from the south.
In your opinion, is the strategy the Israelis are adopting a clear one, or is it evolving depending on the ground realities?
Oh, very much so. I mean, Israel doesn't have a clear political strategy. It might have a military strategy, but the military strategy will be unable to deliver on the eradication of Hamas. Never in history has a terrorist organization or an insurgency been defeated by military means only. And so that's quite clear. But the military has been put in that position of trying to find a military solution to this. And we've seen smaller incursions from special forces overnight over the last couple of days, going a bit deeper into urban areas, trying to take out tactical operational platforms of Hamas, and then retreating again. I think what the IDF is trying to do now is trying to create some sort of foothold, like a forward operating base from which they can actually launch attacks into Gaza City. But it's still questionable to what extent Israel is willing to do this on a much larger scale and actually going and getting sucked into Gaza City. They might try to lay siege on Gaza City for an indefinite period of time and trying to thereby smoke out, if you will, Hamas. But that will obviously take quite a lot of time. And I don't see how this is a strategy, considering that we have this whole, this whole threat of Hezbollah and other fronts being opened in the north and the west of the country.
There seem to be sort of two avenues of thought here, certainly a political one, as you say, and a military one. There may be military objectives in terms of trying to flush out and kill Palestinian fighters in the Gaza Strip. The other one is the narrative from the politicians, which is that the military is going in to free and find the captives, the Israeli captives, whether they be our civilian or military. When do you think we will get an indication that either one strategy or the other is succeeding in terms of the narrative that will come out from the Israeli politicians or from the military? Because we're waiting on their word, are we not, as to how successful they are in this operation?
I honestly don't think that the release of the hostages is a priority in terms of what the IDF is doing at the moment. I mean, if you look at these massive airstrikes kind of across the board in the south and the north of the Gaza Strip, not knowing where the hostages are either, you don't know, if you hit a particular Hamas holdout, whether there are hostages there or not. There's not good intelligence on it. Israel is not fully aware of where all the tunnels are. So in this kind of context, if you are using overwhelming firepower, which is what the Israeli Air Force is doing and has been doing over the last 3 weeks, it doesn't seem to suggest that the release of hostages is in any way a number one priority. I think it is more about getting rid of Hamas and potentially sacrificing the hostages. And obviously the Israeli government is under a lot of pressure. There have been protests inside Israel as well to kind of put pressure on the government to actually release the hostages and negotiate. But also here we see it suggests that Israel is not an honest broker, it's not an honest negotiator at this point. They're unwilling to negotiate. The Qataris have made quite a lot of offers to the Israelis, have put pressure on Hamas as well. Hamas seem to have been ready to release quite a large number of hostages in exchange for a ceasefire, and the Israeli government was unwilling to go for it. And there's quite a lot of disruption. And the problem with Israel is right now is they're not speaking with one voice. They're highly divided between the military military and the political wings, highly divided between intelligence and military. It's quite chaotic on the strategic level. And that's why I'm saying the strategy is evolving as we speak, because I don't think anybody's really in charge at the moment.
Andreas Krieg joining us there from King's College London. Thanks so much for your time, sir.
Thank you.